For me, I have always been overweight. And when I was 10, that was the first time that I actually had to go to a nutritionist because I had high cholesterol. So even though I was overweight as a child, I didn't see it as a problem until middle school. That is when I was constantly told I was overweight. And this came from schoolmates and adults. So even though I do not remember how much I weighed during that time, the message was clear. Being overweight means you're different and not in a good way. So this actually started a pattern. Every summer, I went on a diet and I would try to lose weight before the upcoming school year. Now, once I entered high school, my weight was still a struggle. And of course, I would still hear comments, but it was not on the same level as middle school. But my junior year, I had to be hospitalized overnight. And that was because my blood pressure spiked. No one could figure out why. It wouldn't go down. That was the first sign I knew I was going to start having issues with my blood pressure. Now, once I graduated high school, my weight at that time was probably around 270, 275, and then off to college. So, of course, they say when you go to college, you gain the freshman 15. For me, I gained the freshman 30. So I was about 300 pounds by the end of my freshman year. By my sophomore year, I had joined Weight Watchers. However, being a broke college student, I couldn't afford to keep going, so I had to stop attending the meetings. As an alternative, I went to the school nutritionist because it was free to students. Once we started talking, that is when I was reminded of the rule: eat less, move more, everything in moderation. By the end of my sophomore year, I was about 320 pounds. That summer, I really tried to lose weight, and I was watching what I ate, walked every day, and I lost about 15 pounds. But by the end of the year, I had gained that weight back. By the time I graduated college in 2002, I probably weighed about 340 pounds. I moved back home, started working, and of course, with a job comes health insurance. So I tried to get serious about losing weight again. This time I started taking a fat blocking pill. The side effects were horrible, so I stopped taking the medication. In 2003, I found out that I was diabetic, and I am now on my way to see my third nutritionist. Once again, I'm reminded of the rule: eat less, move more, everything in moderation. By 2004, my weight had climbed to 390 pounds. So now I am interested in bariatric surgery. I called my insurance and they told me that I needed to talk to my doctor, and I made a doctor's appointment. And I asked if I qualified for this type of surgery. And of course, she said yes, due to my medical history. So I went through Duke Medical Center, signed up for the seminar classes, completed the necessary requirements, had my surgery in April 2005. Within a year, I lost about 90 pounds, but not long after, my weight stalled. And that's when my weight began to slowly creep up. By the end of 2010, I was back to 370 pounds. Between 2010 to 2017, I went back to what I knew: dieting and exercising. Exercising, not dieting. Dieting, not exercising. Losing some weight, gaining it back. Trying a new exercise routine, sticking with it for a while, losing interest. Joining a gym, going to it for a month or two, money wasted. Basically, the same book, different page. So now it's New Year's 2018. Honestly, I don't know any other way to explain it, but to say it. I knew at this point it was no longer an option for me to get my health back on track. It was now a requirement. And that meant that I was going to have to change everything that I was doing. So I had an appointment that March. Of course, I had to do blood work before the appointment. And again, it was confirmed I was diabetic. My blood pressure was high, and my weight had now climbed to 395 pounds. That's when I told my doctor, look, I've done everything I can do. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know I am tired of being on the weight loss roller coaster. That is when she told me about the weight loss management program with Weight Men. And I remember she was super excited about it too. And she said, I'm gonna write down the name of the doctor that I want you to see. I know that she'll be able to help you with your nutrition. Automatically, I shut down. When I heard the word nutrition, I knew that meant nutritionist. Now, I didn't say it out loud, but I did think to myself, I refuse to see a fourth nutritionist. But I made the appointment because I had a plan. So I go to the appointment, and that is when I meet Dr. Clayton. So before the appointment, she wanted me to write down what I ate on an average day. So that's breakfast, lunch, dinner, including snacks. So I made my list very detailed, and I brought with me to the appointment containers showing portion control. So my plan was, as soon as she would hit me with eat less, move more, everything in moderation, I was going to be ready for my rebuttal. So we start discussing what I eat. I'm showing her the food list along with the container, showing her the portion control. She's making notes, she's asking questions. So we're now like at the end, she's wrapping things up. And I feel like I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting for her to say the words because I just cannot wait to say my rebuttal. And I remember she turned to me and she looked at me very calmly and she just simply said, "You're a carb addict." I was super confused. And I remember all I could really say was, "What?" So in the end, there were three things that I really appreciated about my first appointment with Dr. Clayton. Number one, this was the first time that anyone had explained the effects that carbohydrates were having on me, Brandis, and why I was continuing to run to those foods. Number two, she did not tell me that I could not have carbohydrates, but she did let me know that there was a way that I had to go about it. And that is when she introduced me to the ketogenic diet. Now, at first, when I heard the word diet, I was about to have a mental shutdown again. But little did I know that this diet was going to be the answer to my prayers. Number three, I was not made to feel like I didn't have a choice. Instead, she actually said, just give me 2 weeks. That's all I asked, 2 weeks. If you don't like it, we don't have to move forward. But I'm telling you, you will feel and you will see a difference. So, okay. 2 weeks later, I had my follow-up appointment and I had dropped 13 pounds. And I've been working with Dr. Clayton ever since. When I started this journey in March of 2018, I was 395 pounds. By February of 2022, I was 220 pounds. Now, there were several things that helped me, but building that partnership with Dr. Clayton was key. She told me what to expect along the way, what medication would best assist me with weight management, but she was also a cheerleader for me throughout the process. Now, one thing that people do not want to discuss on their weight loss journey is weight gain. Now, in the last 2 years, I have gained about 35 pounds. Within that time, I did start a new job, hours changed. I no longer work near the trainer that I use for strength training. So life happens, things take priority. Even when I started gaining weight, Dr. Clayton never made me feel like a failure. She understood. She knew that my focus was shifting. She even told me, hey, life is all about trying to find that balance. So she always, even now, has tried to motivate me with each appointment to get me started again on my regimen. And she reminds me, just start where you are. Remember, the best exercise is the one you're about to do. So the advice that I would give to patients when it comes to weight loss, working with medical providers, number one, your weight loss journey will not look like what you see on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. It's a journey. So there will be ups, downs, frustrations, plateaus, and you may need to make peace with the fact that you may not get the abs that you desperately want. Number two, If your provider has suggested a weight loss program, a medicine, a procedure, ask questions, research. If they give you information, read it. If you try what has been suggested and it does not work, do not be embarrassed. Go back and say, this does not work for me. If you're not comfortable with what has been suggested, state your concerns. Build that relationship with your provider so you can work together to see what else can be beneficial. So, as my journey continues, I'm very eager to see the positive changes that will happen in medical weight loss and weight management.